Morning, Steve Fried with the Morning Grain Comments. Markets are mixed with soybeans and soybean oil and corn lower, while soybean meal and wheat are higher. As far as market fundamentals are concerned, again, for the soybean market, we're up against some very strong resistance going into harvest. A lot of uncertainty as far as number one, what our old crop demand is going to be, and if the carryout comes up a little bit, and number two, what's the demand going to be for next year. Also, in September, the USDA is going to have some objective yield data, which should show some pretty high pod count, especially Iowa and East. So the big question is, will that 50 bushel yield USDA is currently using for the 2021 crop hold, or will it get better? Or will it get worse? Some people think that the carryout for next year might be a little bit lower due to higher soybean demand. But again, the key there is next year's South American crop conditions, weather, and Chinese demand. Meal's firming up. Domestic meal basis here in the U.S. is firm and continues to trade positive versus normally basis levels at negative at this time of year. In the corn market, we ran up against some pretty strong resistance, and still the corn market is trying to debate what our crop size is going to be, when's harvest going to start, how much farmer selling will occur at harvest time, and then what is next year's export demand. We're still waiting for that demand to pick up because of the lower Brazil crop, but so far China's been reluctant to add to their new crop sales. So we expect other countries to have to come in. And there even is talk that Argentina will ship a lot of its extra corn to Brazil and leave their export numbers also below the USDA's forecast. We also would expect domestically, watch very closely our feed and fuel demand because of the spread of COVID. As far as the wheat market is concerned, I think it's concerned about global supply. We get some Canada numbers today, and Russian crop seems to be smaller than what the USDA is saying. Last week there was even talk that potentially Russia might slow some of their export numbers down, and the farmer may not sell to exporters because the domestic prices are higher. Finally, in the type of weather scenario that we look ahead in 2022, U.S. Southern Plains could be drier than normal for planting and also for spring growth. As far as weather is concerned, it looks like there's going to be a dry pocket, let's say from northern Illinois across into Michigan, whereas we had some very heavy rains over the weekend in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and obviously Ida dropped heavy rains across the southern Delta. That'll move up into the Ohio Valley in the next couple of days. But again, overall, besides some localized flooding, I think damage to the crops might be minimal, but we could see a little bit of delay in harvest. And as far as the weather conditions for harvest, U.S. should be good. Still dry in the new lands of Russia, and overall still dry in Brazil and Argentina. As always, these are my thoughts, not those of ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day. And remember, always treat people like you yourself would like to be treated.